Have you ever wondered when organizations hire, they use multiple sources? For example, job portals, employee referrals, campus drives, social media, and consultancy firms, so on. But here is the key question. Are all these resources equally effective? The answer is no. That's why the evaluation becomes critical. Namaskar, I am Mansi. Welcome back to my HRM series. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about an important yet often overlooked aspect of recruitment, the evaluation of recruitment sources. So let's begin the session. Let's begin with time lapse data. It measures the number of days between the initiation of the recruitment process and the actual hiring date. It also evaluates the speed and efficiency of different recruitment sources. The formula is like time lapse data equals to date of hire and date vacancy was announced minus. So let's say the company, any organization is there which announced there are vacancies of 1000 employees, and they are finally they are hiring 1000 people. Both dates would be different. The date on which it was announced, let's take 17th August 2025, and the date the 1000 people were hired was the date was 7th, let's say, October 25. So date of hire is our 7th October 25 minus 17th August 25, 2025. So this is the time lapse. Let's see how much time is taken by each source in recruitment. These are the recruitment sources on this axis, and these are the times taken. For example, job portals took 45 days for the recruitment. Employee referrals took 25 days. Campus recruitment took 60 days. Recruitment agency took 35 days, and social media hiring took 30 days. So the best yield ratio is 25 days, which is the shorter the time lapse indicates the faster recruitment source. So in the first place is going to employee referrals, the second one is going to social media, and the third one is going to recruitment agency. The most ineffective way of recruitment is 60 days, that is campus recruitment, freshers. The second one is yield ratio. This is the percentage of the candidates from recruitment source who move to the next stage of the selection process. So let's take the example. For example, this is a pyramid. The candidate is there. So many candidates are there, and they are going through like each stage, and with every stage, the number of getting reduced. So yield ratio tells you about how many people how many people reach to the next stage from the earlier stage. Let's say the pool had initially 7,000 people, out of which only 500 were shortlisted. Then 50 were called for presentations. Out of them, only 30 were called for interview. And on the basis of the interview, only 25 were kept for some kind of written tests. And then two were being hired. Let's say, just for an example, I'm saying the formula for yield ratio is the number of applicants who successfully move to the next stage upon total number of applicants from that source into 100. So uh, this yield ratio, it does not just only tell about the effectiveness but also the quality of each source. So let's understand the example. So recruitment source yield ratio, as you can see this table, there are job portals, like the sources are three which are given: employee referrals and campus recruitment. In this, in earlier slide, we talked about the formula for yield ratio, which was candidates shortlisted upon total applicants. So let's take the example of 200 applicants and 40 were shortlisted. So candidate shortlisted were 40 divided by total applicants were 200, that too into, so sorry, one second. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, into 100 equals to 20%. Let's do the same for the employee referrals, that is 20 by 50, then divide this one, and how many? 50%. For campus recruitment, it would be 30 upon 100 is equals to 30%. So this is how this would be evaluated. Okay, one question. Okay, you cannot answer. Fine. Okay, the higher yield ratio equals to better quality of applicants from that source. It means that, so in this case, which one is the most efficient one? Yes, you're right. The employee referrals, because the yield ratio is maximum. Like for example, 50 were 50 applied, and out of that half the candidates were shortlisted. However, on the other hand, from job portals, every person, those who, like every person, so many people, they applied for the post, and out of them only 40 were shortlisted. Another example, the same thing, employee referrals, 50 applicants, 15 were shortlisted, so 30% is the yield ratio. And in job portal, 500 applicants were there, 50 were shortlisted, so 10% is the yield ratio. So which one is more effective in this case? 30% one. Now this is the stage we are talking about. This is the stage we are talking about. For example, applications received 240, then screening calls 120, then assignment completed 30, then interviews 15, the second interview 5. So this is how the yield ratio is given, the previous stage and the shortlisted ones. The data shows a sharp narrowing at each stage of the recruitment process when we talk about this yield pyramid. It highlights the filtering like effect of each step. So let's begin with the applications received. 240 applications were received. This is the your widest pool. It shows the total interest in the job, total interest. For example, 10 vacancies are there, and 1000 people are applying for the post. Okay, then screening calls, that is 120. Exactly half of the applicants met the initial basic qualification. This means that your initial screening criteria filtered out of 50% candidates. 122s are 240. So it is just the number of people got reduced to just half. Then calls, assignments given. Only 25% of those who passed the screening were invited to complete the assignment, suggesting the high bar for the skill fit assessment before testing. So why the organization is going to waste a lot of time in in conducting tests, because it requires a lot of investments. So in assignments, those people were eliminated. Then let's talk about the first round interview. Only 15 were there. Only half of those who submitted the assignment were selected for interview. So this is again 50%. So showing that the assignment stage is a strong eliminator. Then the second round interview, just 30% of those in the first interview advanced further, indicating in-depth fit and the competency testing. And finally, The job offer was being made to only one person. Only 0.4% of the initial applicants received an offer, meaning the role is highly competitive and process is very selective. Now let's talk about the third method, that is called surveys. It means collecting the feedback from the candidates and also the hiring managers about the recruitment sources and as well as processes. It helps you gaining the qualitative insight into the candidate's experience and reach, and also the source, the credibility. So recruitment survey could be of two types. One is candidate survey, and the second one is the other side of the table, which is a hiring manager survey. Candidate survey, if we talk about, it is like asking how they learned about the job, how much, how smooth the process was, or their perceptions about the employer. When we talk about hiring manager survey, we ask about the fit, quality, and readiness of the candidate for each source, from each source. Let's begin with candidate survey. They are typically administered promptly after the recruitment process. The question comes, when to send? When to send? So right after the offers letter or onboarding for the successful candidates, they can be shared with the candidates. And for those who are not being selected, so you should wait for some weeks after the rejection to allow the emotions to settle, and then you share. Okay, what is the significance? Why are we wasting a lot of time in candidate survey? Recruitment has been done. It is an old thing. It is a history now. The employee is with us. No, the significance it has three significant points for which we conduct these surveys. Number one, employer brand. Number two, candidate retention. And number three, future referral potential. So what kind of questions you can ask in this candidate survey? Number one, rate the ease of navigating and completing the application process. All these kind of questions you will see when you are joining some new organization, like not exactly same, but these kind of questions. The second category is hiring manager surveys. This is actually getting the view from the other side of the table and collecting feedback from the internal hiring stakeholders. The rationale. Why are we conducting the hiring manager survey? Because we have already conducted the surveys of the candidates. The reason is this survey measures the alignment between the recruitment team and also the hiring manager, and it pinpoints the process in efficiency and assess the candidate's quality and also velocity. So a higher satisfaction score, you know, correlates with the smoother collaboration and fewer misaligned hires. Let's take the example, like I have said, there are two, like one is recruitment team. Just pay attention. One is recruitment team, another is, it's not working. Yeah, one is recruitment team, another one is hiring manager. So are they different? Are they same? They are not same. They are different. Okay, I tell you the difference. Recruitment teams, for example, there is an organization and there are multiple departments. I'm giving a very layman example. So let's say there is a finance department, there is IT department, there is operations department, there is HR department, there is marketing department, there is sales department. There are so many departments, right? So when a hiring is being done in the you know finance, suppose an accountant is being hired, going to be hired or being hired, whatever. The the internally there would be a recruitment team which would be for every department. That would be a recruitment team, but the hiring manager will be the line manager, means the head or some representative from the particular department where the person is going to join. So this is the difference between the recruitment teams and the hiring managers, because that particular hiring manager only can consider that whether the person is actually a right fit for the particular work and culture or not. And recruitment team is actually facilitating all the recruitment process. They are creating the advertisement, they are getting the application pool, they are screening and everything. So they are considered as the facilitators for the smooth recruitment process. Now let's talk about the timing. When we talk about timing, it should be sent 1 or 2 days after the hiring decision, or at the intervals, example after each, or after each fill, or after 1 to 3 months cool down. So this is the particular, the timing also matter a lot, because recruitment is not a easy process. It's like you are uh, organizing a very massive function in your family, and many relatives are coming and asking different kinds of questions, so you have to deal with human emotions. So this is how recruitment process is. There are some of the examples of hiring manager survey. For example, did the recruiter align on sourcing strategy and interview structure, or did the recruiter understand the role and deliver quality candidates? So you are, one thing is, you are asking these questions from the hiring manager, and you are also mentioning the recruiter. As I described in the previous slide, who is a recruiter and who is a hiring manager. So I described like there are two factors. One is hiring manager, which is also called the line manager, particularly representing that department where the person is going to join, right? And recruitment team or recruiter is an HR professional who attracts, screen, and manages the candidates through the hiring process. And he does not do it only for one particular department. He is doing this, it is his job. He is doing it for each and every department of the organization. So whenever there is a vacancy in the organization, a recruiter is going to take the responsibility of attracting, screening, and managing the candidates through the hiring process. And while the hiring manager is the person or the departmental leader who evaluates the shortlisted candidates and makes the final hiring decision, because every single department has specialized knowledge, wisdom, and skills. So that can be measured only with the help of the hiring manager who is there in the department. So this is the basic difference between the recruiter and the hiring manager. For example, let's say I'm a HR professional, so I am conducting. I know how to track, screen, or manage candidates through the hiring process. I know this, but I don't know what are the intricacies of a coding. I don't know what are the intricacies of the finance. So for that, I would be needing some hiring manager. The fourth way of evaluating the recruitment sources is studies. This is typically a data driven analysis that uses the historical hiring data and cost per hire metrics, and also the retention statistics to assess the long term value of different recruitment sources. For example, maybe the yield ratio of the employee referrals were maximum, but they left the organization within 2 years. Maybe the recruitment, the yield ratio uh, of campus recruitment was highest, like it was like 60 days. They were recruiting in 60 days, but they were there in the organization for 10 years, the freshers, right? So what is the purpose of studies? To evaluate not only who gets hired, but also who stays and performs well in long run. It also ensures the recruitment contributions to the organizational success. For example, a recent 2025 paper examines the correlation between the metrics like time to fill, cost per hire, quality of hire, source of hire, within the association with turnover and retention. The findings reveal that high quality hires, especially through referrals or internal postings, for example, promotions lead to lower turnover and also better retention outcomes. What are the methods? How the studies can be conducted? So basically, there are three methods which we are going to discuss. Number one, retention analysis. Number two, performance analysis. And number three, cost effectiveness study. So when we talk about retention analysis, it compares the turnover rates of hires from each source. When we talk about performance analysis, it tracks the performance ratings of hires from each channel. Then cost effectiveness study, it compares the the cost per successful hire from various sources. Example could be a 2-year study might reveal that while campus hiring has a higher upfront cost, but those hires stay longer and perform better than hires from the job portal. This is just an example. So as it is given in the slide, the retention analysis talks about the it compares the turnover rates of the hires from the different sources. Example, if 70% of the campus hires stay beyond 3 years compared to 40% of the job portal hires, campus hiring is more effective. Make sense? Yeah. The second one is performance analysis. It tracks the performance rating of hires by source. For example, the employee referral hires may consistently score higher in the annual appraisal compared to the agency hires. The third one is cost effectiveness study. It compares the cost per successful hire across sources. Example, although referrals may cost less initially, but in long-term analysis may show that campus hires proves to be more efficient due to longer tenure. This is the evaluation of the entire lecture, where all the four methods are being discussed in terms of the strengths and also the weakness apart from the focus. So as we first studied the time lapse data, it talks about speed. Remember the formula, time lapse equals to date of hire minus date the vacancy was being announced or it was being communicated. The strength is it shows efficiency and identifies the bottlenecks. Yes, but the weakness is it does not measure the quality of hire. It only talks about the quantity. Then the yield ratio. It talks of the focus is on quality. That remember there was a pyramid from each state. From each state the person was going up, the number was reduced, and finally for example I give you the example on initially there were like 240 applicants and out of them only one was being hired, so the yield ratio was 0.04%. And the strength is it quantifies the effectiveness and the of the sources. What is the weakness? It ignores the cost and the retention. Then the third thing is through surveys we can also evaluate the recruitment sources. That is perception. The focus of the survey is perception, means what I think. The beauty of perception is my perception is my reality, not your reality. So I may perceive someone very good but someone else may perceive that person very bad. So this is the perception is highly subjective in nature. So because of that the strength, the weakness of this survey thing is it is highly subjective in nature and it may have the response bias. Yes, and but the strengths are also there. It adds the qualitative insight into the source credibility. The basic intricacies are brought to light because of the surveys only. Remember we talked about the hiring manager thing and the recruiter thing. So there is a difference between the hiring manager and the recruitment team. So there need to be an alignment between them studies. So the focus is long term value. Yes, and the positive point of studies is it links source to retention, performance, and cost. While the weakness is it is very time consuming, it requires good record keeping. So this is all about the various methods of evaluating various recruitment sources. These are the various resources which I have used in making this lecture. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. I hope this lecture added some value to your learning. Happy learning.